Hello everyone, my name is Dennis with DonkeySec or Donkey Security, whatever your heart desires, and in today's video we'll be doing another tabletop exercise by TryHackMe. So we've already done Scattered Spider. Video was posted about a week from this recording. Now we'll be doing APT29 Cozy Bear. What APT stands for is Advanced Persistent Threat. So usually if it's an APT, it's backed by a nation-state government, it's backed by financial means, resource, and they do some pretty crazy attacks such as like espionage, financial gain, and tons of more other attacks. So Cozy Bear, let's just click view details here. Here's a scenario overview. I don't want to read this whole thing right there, but basically a bank in the financial service industry discovered network activities during a routine incident. Insider might be involved in sensitive data exfiltration. Okay, so insider threat might be involved with dealing with PII and financial transaction records. And then here we have our exercise configuration. The industry is finance. We have our exercise objectives right there. We have our attacker objectives, which is data exfiltration, and then we have our environment, our architecture, and our core applications. So here's what a tabletop exercise is. Basically, we don't test actual business processes. We come up with a scenario, and then from there, the team has a bunch of different, detection slash, remediation slash control of like how I could, for this example right here, triage this event. Basically, it gives us answer choices that are purely not touching business processes whatsoever. So that's what a tabletop exercise is. It's just basically testing the team's ability to, if this certain scenario happened, what would we do, as a team, or what would you do specifically? So here's our update right here. Around 10:15 a.m., I receive alert from the scene. Login attempts followed by a successful login to CEO's email account from an unusual IP address. Okay, it's flag as suspicious. Additionally, security analyst reports an unexpected increase in outbound traffic from a corporate network to unfamiliar domain. So it could be a potential compromise into the investigation as well as potential data exfiltration. As well. Here is our logs right here. So we have our artifacts. So this is the CEO of the company. Looks location Eastern Europe, which is unusual since they live in New York. So they might be using a VPN. But the same source IP from that login is doing unusual outbound traffic from that domain right here. Then there's a seam alert from the source IP that is from the destination IP, which is also in Eastern Europe. So yeah, that kind of confirms our hypothesis. How would I triage this event? So I would classify it as a medium severity, and the reason why is because that it is suspicious and it's warranted enough for a investigation by the SOC team. I wouldn't classify it as critical or high severity just yet. TryHackMe says that critical is the least effective and high is moderately effective. Reason why it's what TryHackMe says right here: unnecessary resource allocation, potential overreaction, which I don't think it's a overreaction because it's pointing to potential data exfiltration, and the IP addresses is from Eastern Europe. But then, like I said, a VPN can easily trigger that alert as well. Let's move on to the next phase here. So same scenario, what would I do to investigate further? So I would definitely analyze network traffic logs to trace the source and destination of the suspicious outbound traffic to securebankingupdate.com. It's somewhat effective. The most effective was conducting a thorough review of the email logs for the CEO's account to identify any unauthorized access or unusual activity patterns. Yeah, that's also effective as well. The reason why is because I just want to see the logs of the source and destination IP address to see like what the what the domain is there for. But yeah, I guess conducting a thorough review of email logs would have been the better option. Yeah, it says reviewing email logs for the account was the most effective action as it targets the initial point of compromise. Your choice still offers significant value. Okay, I'll take that as a small win. Okay, so we got another scenario update. Use of administrative credentials on several critical systems. Logs that account with elevated privileges. Admin JDO was used to access the financial server. Okay, not typical for the user, so that's one of the things we gotta know about, because if a user is not doing stuff that's within their job functions, and chances are that account is compromised. Additionally, a security alert flags a PowerShell script execution on domain control, which is unusual given the current operational context as well. That kind of points back to the user as well. Attacker may be attempting to escalate privileges and gain broader access to sensitive systems. Yeah. What I would do to contain and eradicate this threat. So yeah, I would definitely disable John Doe's account for further unauthorized access. Pretty self-explanatory. If you disable his access, then contains the threat, reduce the risk of further compromises, and he won't be able to use PowerShell execution on the machine because his account has been prevented from, further access. But says here, implementing a block on PowerShell execution or reviewing firewall rules provides additional layers of defense, but may not have the. No, that's talking about option B here. Yeah, basically it won't. It will. Prevent him from executing PowerShell on the machine. Okay, same scenario right here. What recovery actions would I take at this stage? So I clicked perform a full system backup of critical servers to ensure data integrity and readiness for future incidents. Seems like TryHackMe marked that as the wrong choice, so I didn't gain or lose any points. The most effective option was to conduct a audit of all privileged accounts to ensure no accounts have been compromised. Yeah, that makes sense since it says here that the thing that I clicked didn't directly address the immediate security concerns related to the compromised account. So what escalation is required at this stage? I would definitely escalate to the IT security director to ensure alignment on incident response strategy and resource allocation. Click that as most effective. CISO, it is somewhat effective. Least effective was external incident response partner, which that doesn't even make sense, I guess, unless you're, doing business with MISSP or whatever. So it says here, most effective decision, what I clicked, ensure strategic alignment and optional resource allocation for incident response, coordinated approach, director's oversight to prioritize tasks and manage response effectively. Okay, got another scenario update. Okay, containment efforts leverage the compromised administrative controls to execute their final objective. 2 p.m. Okay, spike in outbound traffic, and then simultaneously my DLP system, data loss prevention system, confirms unauthorized access and copying of sensitive customer and financial records. Okay, this actually triggers compliance concerns and potential regulatory implications. Yeah, how would I triage this? I would definitely triage this as critical incident because it's confirmed data exploitation by our DLP, and then we need to initiate full incident response as well as engaging executive leadership because it's the highest priority since it's messing up our customers' reputation and as well as financial means, as well as those laws as well, such as HIPAA, GDPR, XYZ. Yeah, so still the same scenario. How would I investigate further? So this is a really good question. I got moderately effective. I clicked cross-reference the compromised credentials with recent access logs to identify any authorized activities. Says that here may have occurred using the same credentials, providing inside detectors movement. However, a more effective approach would be conducting a detailed analysis of data loss prevention logs to identify the scope, which directly addresses the attacker's goal. Yeah, that makes sense. Option A, conducting a detailed analysis of DLP logs to identify the exact data types and volumes exfiltrated would have been the best answer. How would I attempt to contain and eradicate the threat? I clicked to isolate the financial transaction server from the network to prevent further data exfiltration. Was the second best option. The first best was to revoke all active sessions and reset passwords for all accounts with elevator privileges to migrate potential misuse. Yeah, since it addresses the root cause by limiting the attacker's access across the network. Makes sense. Yeah, that totally makes sense for the most effective part. What recovery actions would I take at this stage? I would definitely conduct a comprehensive audit of all privileged accounts to ensure no other accounts have been compromised. It was the most effective one. Directly addresses the risk of further unauthorized access by ensuring no other accounts have been compromised. Action helps secure the environment and prevents potential re-entry by the attackers. What escalation is required? I said notify the CISO to provide an overview of the incident and discuss potential strategic impacts because basically we've already contained the threat and escalating it to the IT security director to ensure alignment on its response strategy and resource allocation. We already did that, but it's still marking it as most effective. Ensures the incident is reviewed at strategic level. It says here that escalating to the IT security director would be the most effective choice. Supports tactical response efforts and resource allocation. Okay, makes sense. It looks like we got an 84 out of 100. which is better than last time, so that's obviously really nice. So some of my strengths included effective classification of the incident severity and decisive containment actions, such as disabling compromised accounts and isolating affected systems. However, there were opportunities for improvement in the initial escalation decisions and in fully leveraging detection capabilities to assess the attacker's scope. We're in the green zone, so that's for the most part, so that's awesome. It says here it's unknown. We didn't even get to one of these. Maybe I would have gotten a most effective on this and would have gotten like a A. But hey, it's, you know, we're constantly improving. We got like a 52 last video, now we're 84. So as long as we're still learning, still getting it done, that's all that matters. But yeah, that's been APT29 Cozy Bear tabletop exercise by TryHackMe. And I'll see you when I see you in my next video. Thank you for watching. Peace out.